there was no, I didn't see any connection there, no romantic connection anyway, if that's what those characters are supposed to have. That wasn't there in this movie. And rewatching it, I'm just like, I need to feel that. Like, I need to be like, I can understand this toxic relationship and I'm rooting for it. Like, there was none of that at all, like in the show.
Yeah. Welcome, everyone, to another episode of the Most Potato Podcast. My name's Alvin.
I'm Jess.
And today we're going to be talking about sexy vampires, kind of.
Were they sexy? I don't know.
For the time, they were sexy. They were
guess.
two of the sexiest stars that you could think of. Straight white guys playing two in-the-closet vampires.
Very in the closet.
In the 90s.
I wanted them to come out of the closet. Yeah.
So we're talking about Interview with the Vampire today, and we're talking about the movie that came out in 1994, which I've personally never watched. I've heard about it for like my entire lifetime, but I never once had the urge to watch it because I was just like, Tom Cruise and Brad Pitt dressed as vampires. Like, what are they doing right now? I don't see any action. There's no biting, no fighting. What is this?
That was a VHS that was in my collection.
Was it on rotation for you?
Like, for my mom and then eventually for me, but yeah, I never thought to come back to it until we watched the series.
Yeah. And then learn about how rabid you fan bases are. Like, you guys are passionate about this, which
so
I love.
Passionate, I know.
It was so fun to discuss the 2 seasons of the TV show. And I've never read the books. Have you read the book?
No, I want to read the book, but I haven't decided if I should do it like before season 3 starts of the show, because I feel like there's another. Yeah, there's like another book. I think, I don't know if season 3 is like the next book, but I'm really curious as to how that whole story goes, because the 94 version felt like a Cliff Notes version of the series, and I'm curious about the book more.
Yeah. Like you mentioned, it does feel like the Cliff Notes version. This movie it feels like a speed run of what we witnessed with the AMC version. And the movie's 2 hours. Like, that's plenty of time to do like a full story. But then when you realize it's an adaptation of an entire book, and there's like so many timelines that just span through like the lives of this couple.
Yeah.
And it was really, it was like a weird fever dream of a watch. Like, I was like slightly entertained in some parts of the movie, and in other parts I'm just like, all right, this feels boring because I know full details of these characters and we're not getting like the full meat of this relationship.
I'm like still hungry, and it's not enough.
Yeah, it just feels like Spark Notes in visual form of like a book. They speed run through Louis' background, and then instantly you get like the introduction of Lestat and then their sort of relationship.
Yeah.
Because I put quotations because you could barely tell what it is. Like, obviously as adults we can tell like, okay, this is a homosexual relationship, but it's not being explicitly gay because of the time that it came out. So it just really looks like this kid just made friends with the new neighborhood kid who's an asshole, and he just barges into his house every time and just tells him to do bad things.
Yeah.
It's like, Louis, we're gonna go eat people right now. And then Louis is just like, nah, I don't really want to. But then Lestat's like, Louis, let's fucking go because you're making me mad. And there's like no added context to why they are the way that they are. I'm having a hard time saying that this is a good movie. I would say like it's like the best possible adaptation you could do in a 2-hour runtime, but it doesn't make for like a satisfying story for me personally.
So rewatching the movie, it was really funny. I didn't realize how much I didn't like Tom Cruise until I watched this. I mean, I already knew I didn't like him for many reasons, but I was just like,
damn,
ew. And watching Brad Pitt, I feel like he was mostly like modeling. Like he was
legit just serving face every time.
He looked like really good, but then I was just like, I'm not getting any like emotion. I don't know if that's just
the director tells him to be sad, and he's just like.
Yeah.
Like just the Giga Chad meme.
It's the same face like over and over again. So it's just like, oh, that was kind of flat. I love Kirsten Dunst in this so much. Like,
she was pretty good.
I felt like she was the highlight of the film. Like rewatching it and seeing her as Claudia, I was like, okay, she put in the work here. Like, I'm getting stuff from her. No, she was really good for like a child actor.
Yeah.
In a film like this. So I appreciate her more rewatching this in the film. The only negative I want to give is that it's like very much the Cliff Notes version of this. I was wondering, I'm like, would it have been possible for them to like split it into 2 movies maybe during that time? And then give us a little bit more time with Louis and Lestat and then Claudia, and then we could get to the parts where it's just Louis and Claudia and then, you know, Armand, whatever. I wonder if that's something that could have been possible for that time, because I think my only negative is just they didn't go into more detail. There wasn't enough background.
You don't really
about
get
the
to know. You don't get to know them in detail. I mean, that's basically what the TV show did. Like the first 2 seasons, I think encapsulates just the one book.
Yeah.
Like the whole Paris arc is its own season because there's so much story.
And it was really good. I'm like, this is what you needed. Every time like we're sitting there and watching the movie, I'm just like, if they would have just filled this in or gave us a little bit of that.
If only there was a show.
If only there was a show. And I mean, I'm glad that there is a show. I never thought that Interview with the Vampire was something I would touch back on from the movie, and watching the show, we only heard good things about it. So that's why we're like, we have to sit down and watch this. Ended up loving it. And yeah, I think that's like my only negative.
And I took some time to really think about, am I just coloring myself too much with the previous experience I had with the TV show? Because that's my first ever exposure to this story. But the more I thought about it, the more I'm like, no, if I was exposed to this movie first at this age right now that I'm in, I think I would still have the main complaint of like, I don't feel like I know these characters enough. I don't feel like I know the relationship enough. I don't understand why Louis is with Lestat right now.
Yeah.
Like I said, they come off as like a mean-spirited friendship more than like actual like lust for each other or some kind of love. I don't know. Tom Cruise is like a good actor. I think he plays Lestat fine, but like the writing itself isn't enough. Like when he has his angry outbursts, I'm like, okay, that's Lestat.
Yeah.
But I feel like it just comes up randomly, and I'm just like, I'm not getting context as to why he's acting the way that he is.
I feel like they tiptoed around details of him, like who he is, why he's having those outbursts. And I feel like they didn't give anything on Louis. They had like...
That was like almost nothing.
Yeah, they were just like, oh, his wife and child died, and
Which is an interesting replacement instead of his brother dying.
Yeah, and then, I don't know, he's just like this plantation owner, and I'm just like... Oh.
That's where you lost me. I'm like, I don't know if I could feel sympathy for this man. I'm like, all right, plantation owner.
We need to read the book. But... Yeah, no, I was just like, okay, how sad for him, whatever, I guess. But I just didn't believe it. I was like, this is like a little extreme to go off the deep end and just waste away in brothels and bars and wishing to die. And then Lestat's just like, oh, shoot, he's trying to die. Let me kill him or something. And it's not the show.
And Lestat promises Louis, like, let me give you an escape from your pain. And I never once see him feeling like he's escaping the pain. He never enjoys being a vampire.
I mean, yeah.
We always just see him struggle with feeding.
I thought he would have been like, okay, yeah, I want to be a vampire. Or not even that. I want you to kill me. Not knowing like he was going to be turned into a vampire. He's like, I want you to kill me. Yes, welcome it. Not once did he welcome Lestat and the obvious like death and doom that he would bring. And I don't feel like he addressed it either. He just started like being all broody and like, oh, what are we and how old are we? And yeah, I'm glad we watched the show. I feel like the more I talk about this, I'm just like, they could have done better.
How do we feel about Claudia's story in this? You touched on how Kristen Stewart was good at the character. Did you like the story, or did you also feel like that was like short changes as well?
Well, no, because I mean, she comes in like at the middle. We see that there was a plague, her mom died, Louis happened upon her, basically almost killed her, and Lestat changed her for him. I don't know if it was so much for him, but more for him. I would say it's
more to keep him around.
Yeah, it was for Lestat to keep Louis around, which they touch on that. So seeing the show and seeing what the movie had did originally, I feel like we got enough of her, and I like that the Claudia in the show looked more like a teenager, but this one she really was a little girl. And to see her eventually be like, it's 35 years or whatever, and I haven't changed, and they were walking and she saw this naked woman, and she's just like, I want to be her. And knowing that she can never, it starts like sink in. I'm like, damn, it took 35 years for it to sink in. But because then at that point, she would be like in her 40s if she was aging. I like that. I think they did a good job with having us understand her. And
she was probably the most interesting character of the two.
Yeah, she was able to have like a full story within that. The only thing that I would have liked a little bit more on was her wanting a companion as well too, which she does get the companion for like, I don't know,
it's
5 hours.
Seconds.
Yeah.
It was really quick.
It was really, really quick.
There's no time for that.
Claudia in the show, I think she had time with her companion. But this Claudia, she literally like changed, her companion got changed, and then like maybe like a couple hours later, they died.
Yeah.
I appreciated Claudia's story in the movie. I think they did a good job with that. I think Kirsten Dunst, I keep saying Kirsten Stewart, Dunst in my head. I think she did a really good job, and they told the story of Claudia as well as they could within the 2-hour frame of this movie with everything else they were doing.
Yeah, I think it was probably the best part of the movie, but it still was like undercooked for me. Because like we mentioned before, there's just no time to spend with the characters because it's only 2 hours and it's a lot of story to cover. But I will say the Claudia story is probably the most interesting for this adaptation, and her acting helps a lot. Like for her to act the way that she did at like, I think she was like, I don't know, 10 years old or something like that. And that's one of her earliest gigs. I'm like, it feels weird seeing Mary Jane Watson as a little kid right now.
Yeah.
I've never seen her acting younger than in like the Spider-Man movies before.
Wow. Yeah.
So she's definitely had the acting chops since childhood. So she added a lot to that. And then it also doesn't help that the movie's just not gay enough. Like, I don't know. For me personally, like, I think the main problem why we don't have much time with Louis and Lestat exploring their relationship is because the movie is intentionally vague with the homosexual nature of their relationship. I feel spoiled by the show because you just get 7-8 episodes of these two going through a dysfunctional relationship, and being like, where are these two gonna end up?
In the movie, I'm like, why are you hanging out with him? Just leave. Like, I don't.
After day one, I'd be like, okay, you turned me into this fucking thing, and now I gotta live my life with you. I can't handle that.
Honestly, I didn't feel any sort of connection. There was no sexual tension.
No chemistry.
There was no chemistry.
No.
Not even a friendship, really. I just felt like Louis got turned by this guy, and he has nowhere else to go.
And just trapped him instantly.
Yeah, no, that's what it felt like. There was never a vibe. And I mean, some people could say, oh yeah, there's like maybe a little bit vibe. I just think that that's more of being a vampire. What a vampire is, it's very sensual and sexy, and they're supposed to like draw you in. I think that happens sometimes, but there was no, I didn't see any connection there, no romantic connection anyway. If that's what those characters are supposed to have, that wasn't there in this movie. And rewatching it, I'm just like, I need to feel that. Like, I need to be like, I can understand this toxic relationship and I'm rooting for it. Like, there was none of that at all, like in the show.
Yeah, there's nothing to really root for or care about. Like, I remember taking sides, like being a full-on Louis supporter in the show, until we start unraveling the truth of like what these two people are actually really like to each other, and how there's so much gray area with how terrible they've been with each other. Here, like, it's the censorship really just does restrict the story. Like, I don't know how outwardly gay the original story is itself. We haven't read the book, but it's just like a huge hindrance to the story because, again, you don't get to care about what's going on because you don't even know what this relationship is. It's so vague. It makes it boring. Like, half the time I felt like I was mentally falling asleep, like nodding off. Like, I know I was physically awake, but I found myself like checking my phone, or like I'd be staring at the screen and then I'd be like, oh yeah, I'm watching the movie. I think the fact that it's not able to be outwardly gay is like a huge hindrance on the story. You're just not able to decipher what's going on. It just feels like this weird fever dream of like, oh yeah, we're seeing time passing by for these two vampires that are stuck with each other. But there's really nothing else. Yeah,
there's no story. Even if they didn't want to like say that they're in a relationship,
they could have best friends.
Yes, exactly. They could have had it just be a friendship, and they could have been like best friends somehow. I don't know how that would have worked out, but they could have done that because I'm not rooting for them. I'm not picking sides or anything. We're just
observing them.
Yes.
We're not watching a movie. We're just observing. It's
exactly.
Like, yes, those are people. Being somewhat people. I don't know. There's more sexual tension between Oscar Isaac and John Boyega in that Star Wars movie. Like that. Just that alone.
I felt that. Yeah.
They could have captured that with Brad Pitt and Tom Cruise, but no. I think they flubbed that one. They fumbled that one.
Did you feel like there was enough of a relationship between Louis and Claudia.
Just enough. Maybe, I think because the movie does touch on like Louis's guilt a little bit, and he did feel guilty for seeing Claudia there and taking her in and forcibly changing her into a vampire. That relationship was more tangible, and of course that's easier to convey in like a 90s movie because you're dealing with like a father and child relationship as opposed to a homosexual relationship where that was more taboo. So I feel like there was enough meat there, but still like we didn't get enough of them together for me to fully care the way that I did about the two in the TV series. So how did we feel about the Louis and Armand story? Was that pulled off well at all? That's a no.
No, I don't know, because it all happened so fast where Claudia's plotting against Lestat and then delivers those twins to him, yada yada. The scene where he's like in the house and it's burning down, and he's like crawling on the ceiling trying to get away as they run away was really funny. Rewatching it again. Armand like wants him, and I couldn't understand why. And I'm thinking back to the times where I watched before the show where I couldn't understand what his interest was in him until we got the show. And it was weird. I just felt like watching him like, okay, this guy wants Louis. I can see that. I don't know what Lestat wants to do with this guy. Yeah. But seeing Louis and Armand in this, I felt like Brad Pitt's Louis just wanted to understand why he was a vampire. I don't feel like there was any like real interest in Armand except for this guy knows some more information.
It was less romantic, less sexual from what I gathered.
Yeah, it was a one-sided. It was like unrequited love on Armand's side anyway. Yeah, I couldn't understand it. And knowing what I know from the show, I was like, okay, Armand's helping him get out of that tomb that they sealed him in when the rest of the, what are they?
I don't know, the troop.
The troop, when they captured him and Claudia and her companion. I'm just like, this is happening way too fast. Like literally the camera work and all that stuff in that scene, it was like happening really fast, but it was like, this is happening way too fast. I can't take a minute to understand what Armand wants, what he wants from Louis. I can't understand Claudia's sudden interest in a companion, though she does say like, oh, you're going to leave me for Armand. And I can't understand why he would in the movie. It doesn't make any sense. So everything just happened really fast and they had to throw it all together. I don't know. What did you think?
Yeah, the whole Armand arc is complete trash. Like, I'm just...
Damn.
It's that bad for me. I'm spoiled from the TV show, but I turn that off. I separate that. If I'm looking at it as just a movie, it just feels like, where the hell did this arc even come from? Like, it just felt like the death of Lestat should have been the end of this movie. And then suddenly we're in Paris, and I'm just like, do we even have time for this? Like, this feels like its own story, like its own, like, 2-hour thing at best. And then, like you said, they speed run through everything with Claudia's urge to find a companion, with Armand kind of falling for Louis, but like not really, because again, they're not allowing the actors to fully be the character. And it was probably the worst section of the movie because it just felt like so much was being crammed, and there were so many storylines and plot lines that are so rich and so interesting that we never got to even scratch the surface of in this version. I like Antonio Banderas as Armand. That's a good casting, but like that's a waste of talent too. Like, you didn't really utilize him for anything.
Yeah.
Like, he just looks like a really good just vampire cosplay, just creeping around here and there.
Yeah.
And then the weirdest part for me was not having Lestat be part of the orchestration of killing Claudia and the trial, basically. Well, they don't really have a trial in this version. Again, I don't know how it goes in the books. I don't know what the true version is. But the one we got in the AMC version, wow. Amazing. That's how you do a plot twist.
Yeah.
Here, I was expecting, okay, Lestat's going to come and show up and be a dickhead once again.
Nope.
No Lestat. And I was just like,
He's just back and moping somewhere, decaying.
Yeah, and I was surprised to see him again because I'm like, okay, maybe they did permanently kill him with that fire.
Nope.
So but then there wouldn't be enough time for Lestat's reveal in that portion anyways. Everything was happening so fast. And it was just a shame because the Armand character was someone I really got behind, and I deserve to get cooked on the internet for being a supporter of Armand at first, and then seeing how shitty he was in the series. But we just don't get any of that. We don't get that back and forth of like, oh, you're a terrible... Wait, no, you're the bad guy in this relationship. Wait, hold on, both of you.
I know, I was back and forth. I was just like, oh shit, is Louis the problem after dogging Lestat? And I'm like, I'm still dogging Lestat.
Yeah.
But now I'm dogging Louis. I'm dogging Armand from day one because I knew he was off.
We never get that experience in this movie with these characters.
Yeah, we don't.
Because none of these characters are fully fleshed out because they don't have the time and then they don't have the freedom to actually express what these characters really represent. So, yeah, the whole Armand arc was really just... I could have done without it in this movie. I was waiting for the movie to end by the time Lestat caught fire.
Yeah.
And then when I saw that they were actually going to do the Paris stuff, I was like, holy shit, like, this is not going to be good. And sure enough, it wasn't good enough for me. Mm-hmm. So then we can get to Louis and Lestat's reunion, which you mentioned earlier. I don't know. When they did the reunion scene, I felt really just numb to the conversation that they were having. Mm-hmm. I don't feel like Louis had a full arc of him becoming his own person, of being independent.
No, he didn't. That was not in the movie at all. I can say that for sure. He just comes back and he's just like, yeah, so Claudia's dead. He's just like, oh man. Lestat's like, oh, okay. Are you coming back with me? And he's like, nah. And they're like, okay. It's like,
and it's a shame that the ending, I think this is supposed to be like an iconic ending for the story of Louis and Lestat. The fact that it fell so flat, I think it's just embarrassing because that's supposed to be the culmination of their separate arcs, their relationship. Mm-hmm. The way that, again, I keep going back to the show, but I can't help it. It just feels like the blueprint. The way that they did it, there was so much purpose to that reunion. Whereas here, it just feels like, okay, this is where the book is supposed to tie off things, so we have to film this. And we never get to know them fully as a couple. We never get to know them fully as individuals, so that by the time you get to this weird reunion, it just feels like, why are you even bothering to come back here to see this guy?
Yeah.
Like, there's no payoff emotionally. There's no payoff where you just feel like, okay, Louis is finally standing up as his own man. Like, he's gained independence. He doesn't feel like he needs to depend on a relationship with any other vampire right now. Mm-hmm. There was just no emotional arc to build up to that. What did you feel about that reunion?
I felt nothing. I don't know. I just, thinking about it, there's not much to really say about it. It's lacking. I couldn't understand in the movie anyway why he comes back. What was the purpose of them even having a conversation? Because I know in the show, Lestat's basically calling to Louis, like, nonstop, on and off for years.
All the manipulation. None of that is here.
And there's parts where Louis doesn't even know that that's happening. Armand's blocking that or not telling him. He's like basically hiding all his letters or throwing them away. Yeah. So it was just weird. I felt like the Louis in this movie just happened to come back. Claudia's gone. He comes back to where their house was and oh shit, Lestat, he's still here. He's still hanging out here. And that's just what happens. It was never, I need to see Lestat and talk to him and there's words that need to be said. It didn't feel like that. It just felt like you said, they were like, oh shit, we got to put this in the movie. This happens and that's it.
Yeah. And then we get to the final ending. We've been seeing intercuts of the actual interview between Daniel Malloy and Louis.
I almost forgot about him.
It's extremely forgettable because what is the point of this interview other than just giving narration?
Yeah.
Like, the whole title is Interview with the Vampire, and there's a thematic purpose to the interview. Mm-hmm. Like we saw in the series, it's all about perspective and how we slowly uncover the truth about what these characters are actually like with each other. Here, Daniel Malloy plays no part in the story whatsoever. He's just this random dude who came across a vampire, is interviewing him, and then ends the movie with like, you gotta make me a vampire. And then Brad Pitt is just like, have you not been listening to my story? Why the hell would you want to be? Why would you want to be me?
Yeah.
It was so bizarre. Like, they did not utilize the interview portion at all in terms of like a story mechanism as a theme. And it was probably like the most disappointing aspect of the movie because I can't stand useless narration. And that's essentially what it was. It was only there to use, like, to explain passage of time and really nothing else. I don't know. What did you feel with the misuse of Daniel Malloy?
Literally everything you said. I forgot while we were going through this to even bring him up. Because the movie does starts with him and Louis, right? And talking and starting the interview. Yeah, it was just flat for me. I mean, he was enjoying the story so much. He didn't seem to be like the Daniel in the show saying like, well, do you remember that correctly? Is that really what happened? He wasn't questioning Louis. He was just listening to like a story and a good time. And then he's like, I want to be a vampire too. I like that the Daniel in the show really made Louis stop and say, like, Lestat's not the only problem. You are too. You're not remembering everything. And Armand over there, he's a sketchball. He's playing you. So I like that. This Daniel Malloy was just, like you said, he was just there to help with the narration of the story.
And no slight against Christian Slater. I love me some Mr. Robot, all right? He's a good actor. He just, again, there's a lot of wasted talent here. Mm-hmm. They're just, the writing of the story and the characters are so thin because you're trying to cram so much into like a very thin runtime that, yeah, the Daniel Malloy character, he just becomes a nothing burger of a character. After what we got in the series, I'm like, I expect like at least just as good of a characterization. But yeah, there's like no purpose to the interview. I don't know why it's called Interview with the Vampire.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he even say why? He just is like, I just want to tell my story. It's basically, like, to anybody that will listen, I don't know if you'll believe it. I felt like the interview in the show had more of a purpose. Like there was a reason for Louis wanting this information out there for people to know about it. But yeah, this one was just like, oh, okay. I guess I'll listen to you. Like, you could have just came and talked to me. I would have been like, that's too bad, man. You know?
I think I was sounding pretty harsh on this movie. I'm not saying it's like a piece of shit movie. Like, it's fine for what it is. Like, the cinematography is beautiful. I miss when movies used to look like that, where it's mostly just practical sets. But everything just felt like a really pale comparison to the show. And again, I know it's not fair to compare, but it's like when you don't give enough of a story in a 2-hour movie, I don't see what you can come away with in this movie. Like, I don't feel like there was interesting themes explored with the characters here. And there wasn't enough drama. At the end of the day, there just wasn't enough interesting drama because you don't know the characters well enough.
Yeah, there was only drama between Claudia and Lestat and Louis, and that's just this little girl had to bring the drama to this movie, and that was about it. Once she was gone, I was just like, oh, okay.
I'm gonna give this a very, very, very light baked potato. I was leaning towards salty spud, but I'm like, it's not bad, but it's also not good. It's like, it's mediocre. So it's like, that's what baked potato is. It's like, all right, some bland stuff. I could eat that stuff up, but I won't die. So I won't get sick from it. So
yeah, okay. I'm also giving this a baked potato as well too. I don't know if it's just like me growing up watching the movie, then having the show, then watching it again and seeing a lot of major flaws with it. Not enough to say it's like awful, but yeah, after watching the show, I felt like we've been spoiled, and
extremely.
I just felt like this was like the quick notes of the movie was like quick notes of the story. So I would give it a baked potato having rewatched it.
Nice. All right. So that's 2 baked potatoes from us. Guys, let us know in the comments below. Are we wrong? Are we just hating right now? Do you see anything in this movie that we've missed, that we might have overlooked, that could make this an actual good movie?
And don't worry. I think I'm really going to read the book. I need time, but
yeah, I want to read the book too. I'm really curious because then I really feel like I can put everything into full perspective.
I know everybody in the comments are gonna be like, "You guys need to read the book. You haven't read the book, so you don't know what you're talking about." I know, but I will get to it. We will. Yes.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe we'll discuss it too. Maybe.
Yeah.
Possibly.
When season 3 comes.
Yeah. So yeah, let us know all your thoughts in the comments below. Let us know what you liked or didn't like about this movie. Let us know your comparisons between the movie, the book, the show. And no book spoilers. Just try your best not to do book spoilers because we do want to read. Have fun in the comments.
Yes.
Don't be too mean to us. All right. So thank you guys for watching and tuning in. Make sure to like and subscribe. Hit notification bells. Share this with your vampire lovers, your slavers. No, I'm just kidding. Don't do that. Share this with your abducted daughter who's a vampire and your vampire troop. And we will see you guys next time. Peace.